Hey guys and girls, my name's Alan and welcome to today's video. I hope you're having a good Saturday so far.
I'm not bound by petty notions of conscience.
This will be my fourth video this week, would you believe it? I'm trying to make up for some lost time, but also I've got stuff I need to put out before it becomes irrelevant. Yesterday I did post yet another Fortnite video. This is about Season 7 dropping. I mean, it's already dropped. That wasn't a surprise. I did talk about that earlier in the week. But basically, I took a little bit of time to look around the map in Playgrounds mode and just show off all the new stuff they've added to the game. So if you're interested in seeing that, then do check it out. I also do something that I've never done before in Fortnite for the first time, so that was kind of interesting, and I do show off the new battle pass as well. So if you're interested to see that, I'll link the video on the screen now. I will also link it in the description below. Today's video is going to be a continuation of what I did last week, wait, not last week, earlier in the week, where I started to talk about my trip to the US and the reason why I've been gone for so long. I talk about that in that video there, so if you want to find out, then obviously you can check that one out. I'll link that in the description as well. So in today's video, I'm just going to continue, as I said, talking about it. So we didn't actually get very far in that video earlier in the week because I was talking about all the other stuff that was going on. So we got to the point where we got to the airport and got on the plane, and I realised that the class that we were flying in didn't have the gamepad, and I was very disappointed. Moving on from that, so the actual flight itself was pretty plain sailing. There was a tiny bit of turbulence, and that's the thing I hate most about flying. I think most people do, is turbulence, and a little bit of turbulence is absolutely nothing to a plane. Like, the plane is built to withstand that and much more, but you feel it shaking, you know, dropping up and down a little bit, not massively, but you feel that and you think, that's it, end of the world, we're all dead. But it's not the case. It really isn't the case. And flying on planes is actually really safe. If you look at the stats of flying on planes, outside of things like, you know, terrorist attacks and stuff like that, which is always a threat, but it's rare, very rare. Outside of things like that, the actual number of planes that crash just, you know, because of bad weather and stuff like that, very, very minimum. Like, you're more likely to get killed in a road traffic accident than you are in a plane crash. That's how different it is. So it is kind of, I wouldn't say being silly. Obviously, you know, you're flying at like 100,000 miles, not 100, no, not that fast. You're flying at like 25,000 miles an hour, 100,000 feet, not 100,000 feet, like 16,000 feet. I don't know where I'm getting these numbers from, and you know what I mean. The bottom line is it's relatively safe flying on a plane. Anyway, let's move on from that. I don't even know why I'm talking about that. So, bit of turbulence, minor. And because I was so tired from the fact that I'd pulled an all-nighter before, from the night before, I pretty much slept the entire journey. Like, it was a 10-11 hour flight, I'm tempted to say, and I slept for like 8 hours. So I woke up. My food was there because I told my uncle, who I was sitting next to save me some food. Woke up, ate, watched a film, we landed. That was my flight, basically. So not very interesting. There's always one thing I sort, well, I mean, I say always, but there's always something you sort of look out for as a bloke when you're on a plane. And I hate to say it, and it makes me sound a bit, you know, but, you know, come on. You always sort of have an eye out in case there's any, I don't know, for want of a better word, eye candy, servicing the plane, you know. I know it's not very nice to say, but I kind of, I'm a bloke, right? And I don't know, maybe females do the same thing. I have no idea. But as a bloke, that's just a nice bonus, right? But there wasn't a lot of talent on the plane, unfortunately, which is, I guess, was fine because I was asleep for most of it anyway. The food was pretty standard. I mean, nothing amazing. It was my food was cold because I ate it like 2 hours later, but it still tasted decent. Maybe a tad salty, if I say anything about it, which is kind of saying something because I enjoy my food kind of salty anyway. So the fact that I say something salty means it's pretty salty. So they could probably cut back on that a little bit, but it was alright. It was decent. I mean, when you're hungry, everything tastes good, right? And I just woken up from like a 9-hour kip, so anything was better than nothing. When we left, it was sort of raining in England, sort of a drizzly day, so it was a bit miserable. But then when we got to stateside, well, I say when we got to stateside, I was pretty much asleep when we entered US airspace. And then we got to America and we landed, and it was a pretty nice day. I mean, it was September, so it wasn't the hottest it could have been. But if I had to compare it, the weather generally in San Francisco was like a hot summer's day in the UK, so bearable. I mean, I don't deal with hot weather too well, so the fact that it was manageable, that tells you how kind of cool it was, I suppose. And that was San Francisco. And we actually, okay, so I say San Francisco, it wasn't actually San Francisco. We landed at San Francisco airport, obviously, but we didn't actually stay in San Francisco. My aunt lives a little bit outside of San Francisco. It's about 20-minute drive, something like that, 15-minute drive. And we stayed with her, and it's funny because obviously there's like a massive cohort of us family going over there, like I think 10 of us all together or something like that, and she's got not a huge house. I mean, you know, it's a standard house, but when you try and cram in like 3 times as many people as you normally have, things start to get a little bit crowded. So a lot of people are room sharing. you know, there was a queue for the bathroom in the mornings and the evenings, that sort of thing. But we're all family, so we managed, you know, we just get on with it. It was just funny though, because I live by myself. I have all these rooms that I use. Well, I say I have all these rooms that I use. I use like 2 rooms, and I use the kitchen whenever I want. I use the bathroom whenever I want. And suddenly I'm living with like 20 other people, like 10, 15 other. Why do I keep making up these stupid numbers? Like 10, 12 other people. So it's just a little bit crowded, you know. It was just different, but you know, obviously we're there on holiday, so you make do with it. Anyway, so we stayed there for a couple of nights, and I think on the second day we actually went to San Francisco, the city itself, and I couldn't resist. I had to open Pokemon Go and catch a few Pokemon, take a few pictures. I actually caught a couple of Laprases, which is kind of cool. And it's crazy because you see all these pictures online of like a city full of Pokestops and gyms, and that's exactly what it was. Compared to my immediate area, which has 1 gym and 2 Pokestops, San Francisco, the city itself, there was literally Pokestops on every single corner and gyms like dotted in between. It was crazy. Obviously, this is a major city, and I think Niantic, the company behind it, are based somewhere nearby. I think obviously a lot of tech companies are based in California, so it wouldn't be, you know, strange to find that situation ongoing. But it was just funny as they're coming from, you know, 2 Pokestops and 1 gym to, I don't know, 100 Pokestops and dozens of gyms. I don't want to make up random numbers, but it was a lot. So that was kind of cool. Went to other touristy places, you know, Fisherman's Wharf, that sort of thing. Went down to the coast a little bit, have a look, and saw from a distance Alcatraz Prison Island, Island Prison even, and obviously the Golden Gate Bridge as well in the distance. And I put a few pictures on Insta if you want to check it out. I'll link my Insta in the description below. Some of the pictures I took were kind of cool. I'm still in the process of adding photos. I'm not very good at it. Like, it takes me like 20 minutes to like pick one photo, edit it and share it, maybe even longer in some cases. I'm very new to this whole sharing pictures thing. I mean, I love taking photos. I'm not very good at sharing them, and in a timely fashion as well. So it's something I was working on my holiday. And pro tip, by the way, I didn't have any data covered as part of my plan, my mobile plan. So anything I would have used would have charged me as an extra. So what I did was, because my phone's SIM free, I bought a 3 SIM card, having done some research online, and realized that if I just bought one of their one-off bundles, I could, in theory, use my data in America. Now, it worked a treat for me. I went to San Francisco, I got data. I went down to LA, got data, got coverage, fine. My sister, however, went to, I think, New Orleans not too long ago, and on my recommendation, did the same thing because she's also got a SIM-free phone. But she couldn't get a lot of coverage, and I figure it's because of the location more than anything. But if you're looking to use your data abroad, don't be paying extra through your company. Because my friend who's with EE, I think he was getting charged something stupid, like £5 a day for like 10 megabytes, which is nothing, right? That's not even a picture to Insta. So if you've got a SIM-free phone, get yourself like a bundle from with a 3 SIM if you're going to America. Other countries are covered as well, so in theory you could do it up to several countries. I don't know if other networks do similar sort of thing or not, but definitely don't be paying over the odds with your company, because that's just silly. You don't have to. And if anything, hey, you can live without data for a little bit, right? It's, you know, everywhere's got Wi-Fi. If you're staying at a hotel, whatever, the family, I'm sure they've got Wi-Fi. So you don't really need to. But that's neither here nor there. I don't want to keep going on about it. Now, the other funny thing is, because we were traversing a city that we'd never been to before, I was glad I had data, because I actually had, I downloaded like a map app on my phone. You can pre-download it before you actually leave the house. So if you haven't got any data, then you can download the map and have a look at it on the go. However, the most useful feature of it, having had data, is that I could locate myself using GPS services. So I was able to navigate to these places and stuff like that, and it was kind of cool. The one funny thing that happened when I was walking through the city is that on the coast, obviously no tall buildings, plenty of coverage, fine. When you go into the central bit, a lot of tall buildings, and so the GPS signal is proper screwy, and I was getting lost left, right and center, up until a point where this is the problem with technology. You sort of rely on it so much that when it goes wrong, you start to panic. And fortunately, I'm fairly confident when it comes to reading a map. So I had this map downloaded. I didn't need technically to locate myself. All I did was do it the old-fashioned way, find street names, and just follow it from there. So the GPS signal was sending me in circles, but if I'd just done it normally, by looking at road names, I eventually found my way out of the city. So yeah, don't always rely on technology, but it was useful to have. It was just really funny. At one point, I had Pokemon Go open, as I said, and I was chasing a Tangela, and I was lost. I got lost chasing this Tangela because of the GPS signal being so bad. But it just goes, I mean, as I said, just don't rely on technology so much all the time. It's useful to have, but you need to know the basic skills, right? So the other funny thing that happened as well is, in America, there's sort of a stigma against like public transport and the people that use public transport. And I remember before setting out to head down to San Francisco, my cousin said to me, don't touch anything, because we were going to catch the train down to San Fran. And I was confused, but I knew what she was on about because I'd heard this before. And it's really strange because in the UK, public transport is very much an accepted form of transport. Like millions of people every day use buses, use the tube, use trains. That's just part of life, right? But in America, if you use public transport, people sort of, I wouldn't say look down at you, but they immediately categorize you into a certain pool. And there's also obviously the stigma of it being like, you know, cheap and nasty and dirty and all the rest of it. And it really wasn't. Like the train that we got on was fine. You know, no worse than the bus that I catch to work every day. Right, so that'll do it for today's video. Just like last video, I decided to clip two videos together, so the start of one and the end of another, because as I said, the whole game itself wasn't great, but those parts were good, so I thought I'd include those into one video itself. At the rate that this story is going, I'll probably end up doing 4 parts of this retelling story thing, so there'll definitely be a video next weekend. I'm not too sure if I'm going to make one before that point. However, in between, I will be doing some Fortnite gameplays because obviously Season 7 has just dropped. I will be live streaming a fair bit of Season 7. If you do want to check me out live sometime, my Twitch channel is linked in the description below. It is also linked on the screen right now. But yeah, that'll do it for today's video. As per usual, if you enjoyed the content, do consider tapping the like button. I really do appreciate it. And as always, if you've got to talk about channel to share maybe regarding anything I've talked about today, do let me know in the comment section below. But until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, take care, and I will see you later.
And now it's hard to breathe.